Namaste everyone. My name is Vidya Irene Tamang. I'm from India and I'm a TESOL Ed major and I am the president of the Indian Club.
And I'm Ayusha. I'm from Nepal. I'm studying biochemistry and I'm the vice president of the Indian Club.
So we welcome you today to our cooking presentation. We will be making today for you the classic butter chicken. Okay, so the story actually is very interesting of how butter chicken came to be. So here goes the story. Well, there was this one chef, we don't know who, but this one chef, he was really worried about all the chicken he had to throw away every night because there was just no way of storing it. And the next morning he would come back, it's just so dry, no moisture left. So this one day he decides to take all the leftover chicken and put it in a tomato paste or tomato gravy that was left over from some other recipe. So he can block in all the moisture and still reuse the chicken the next day. And ta-da! That was the origin or the beginning of the great butter chicken recipe. So as with any other recipe that I know, butter chicken has a variety of ways or variations. I will try to give you the simplest way possible, the easiest and the quickest, especially for us college students who just do not have the time for a fancy and elaborate recipe. So we begin with marinating the chicken. For the first marination, we just need 5 ingredients. So the first is, of course, the chicken. This has been cut into bite-sized pieces, and this is about 1 pound chicken. Then we have lemon juice, we have ginger garlic, and then we have salt. We will be using a mortar pestle today to make about 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste. You can just buy ready-made ginger garlic paste from the market or make a paste in your food processor, blender, whatever you have available, or just smash it with whatever you have. We'll just start smashing it. Okay, so now we have our ginger garlic paste ready. We will use 1 tablespoon. Okay, so just scoop a little bit of that. 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. 1 teaspoon of salt. Now all we need to do is just mix them up, and we will let this sit and marinate for about 15 to 20 minutes. That's the first marination. Now let's move on to the curry.
Okay, so let's start on our curry sauce now. So for our curry sauce, we're gonna use 2 tablespoons of butter. I think this is our unsalted butter. 2 ounces of diced onions. Okay. And then we're gonna add 4 cloves of garlic, 12 cashew nuts, 1 black cardamom, 4 cloves, 1 bay leaf, and 1 tablespoon of our Kashmiri red chili. Okay, and now let me add cinnamon stick, diced tomatoes, 2 cups of water, and let it simmer for like 10-15 minutes.
Okay, welcome back. So the chicken has been marinating for about 15-20 minutes. Now for the second marination, these are the ingredients that we need. 1 cup of yogurt, lemon juice again, oil, red chili powder, and then of course salt to taste. So the first thing we will do is we will add 4 tablespoons of oil in a bowl, and then we add about 1.5 tablespoons of red chili powder, and of course you can adjust this according to how much heat you can take. So, and then we will add the chicken, and this is the chicken that has been marinating for about 15-20 minutes, and then we will give it a nice mix. Make sure that it's mixed with all the chicken pieces. Now with the chicken pieces, they just need to be boneless. You can use any chicken part. This is chicken breast, boneless. And so usually for butter chicken, we do not use chicken that has bone in it because you want to cook it separately and make sure it combines well with the creamy gravy that's simmering in the pot behind me. Okay, once that's done, what we want to do is we want to drain away the excess water and then just add 1 cup yogurt, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, and then last just about a little less than 1 teaspoon of salt. Remember to adjust salt accordingly because we added salt before, we added salt in the curry, and we're adding salt here, so we want to be careful. Okay, so just give it a nice mix. And then this has to be marinating for another 15 to 20 minutes again. Yeah. You can't marinate it for longer, maybe about an hour if you have time, but minimum 15 to 20 minutes is just right. Okay, so this is mixed up nicely. We will set this aside, and once this marinade sits for 20 minutes, then we will start frying it.
So now that our curry has been simmering for 10 to 15 minutes, let's take a look at it. Okay, so what you want to do is in between you would want to like stir it occasionally so that it doesn't stick to the bottom. This looks great. And I also forgot to mention we actually added 1 pound of diced tomatoes before, and we just want to cook it more until all the tomatoes are cooked and mushy.
Okay, so now that the curry is simmering on the left, we will get started with cooking the chicken. This has been marinating now for about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so this pan here, you can take any pan that's available, a wok, whichever is comfortable. So this is preheating, and I'm gonna add a mix of or equal portions of butter and oil so that the butter doesn't burn. So this is 2 tablespoons of butter, which is not willing to come out, okay? And then we add 2 tablespoons of cooking oil. Okay, and while that's melting, I just want to tell you that when you're making the chicken, first you want to start off on a high flame so that the chicken pieces are nice and seared on all sides, and then you simmer it a little bit, like medium-low, and then cook it till it's all done. You want the chicken cooked perfectly, okay? And it takes about between 3 to 5 minutes, depending on what kind of chicken you have, what pieces you have, for the chicken to cook completely. Do not overcook it or it'll become rubber. Okay, so now that the chicken is melting, I'm gonna put in the chicken pieces. Now what you don't want to do is put the pieces very close together. Otherwise they will become gravy. They will not have a nice sear, and they will just ooze out a lot of water. So you want to make sure that there's social distancing between the chicken pieces. Don't touch them until they're seared for about a minute or two. Then turn them, get a nice sear on the other side, and then you turn it low, medium, and just cook it. Okay, so now you see that there's a light golden brown sear on one side, so I'm just turning them. Yeah, just watch out for the hot oil. It splatters a lot because of all the liquid marination. Okay, and yeah, just make sure it sears equally on all sides. And then after this, after a minute, you want to lower the flame. Right now it's set high. You want to turn it down to about between 3 or 2, and then just let it cook. Do not cover it, because if you cover it with the steam, it will start accumulating water and there will be gravy. We don't want that here. The gravy is cooking on its own over there.
Okay, so now we're gonna blend our curry sauce that was simmering back there. It took about like 20 minutes to simmer it, and then like about 10 to 15 minutes to cool it down. And I have it here in the blender now, and let me just start it, and we're just gonna make it very smooth. Okay, we're gonna put it in the in this bowl. This is where our curry paste is, curry sauce is. And after we blend it, it should look something like this, like a little bit smoother than before. No more mushy tomatoes in there. And after this step, we'll move on to putting the curry and the chicken together. That would be our final step.
Okay, so now for the final step. I promise. This is the final step. So the final step means that we will bring the curry and the chicken pieces together, just like Ayesha told us. Okay, so for that, wok here is preheated. It's between 3 and 4. It's a little on a medium high. And you can just use about any pot, so just enough depth so that the curry has a place to boil. Okay, so we'll start with adding about 2 tablespoons of butter. It's butter chicken, so sorry folks, a lot of butter. And then we'll add about a half teaspoon of chopped ginger. Okay, so this actually is called tempering. Most of the curries that we Indians make, we temper the curry. We add a little bit of spices on the top because that's what we're about. And so after, we'll just wait for this to melt and just fry a little bit. And I'm also going to add 1 chili, okay? You can add 2 if you like really spicy things, or you can add none if you don't want to add any more spice. You just want to make sure that it's incorporated. We don't want to burn it because we know butter burns fast, okay? So now that it's done, the butter is melted, and the butter actually is probably ginger and chili butter. We'll add the blended curry mix. Just make sure, because it's all tomatoes and stuff, it will splatter a lot. So just make sure you watch out for that. Just stir it lightly. Okay, and your gas is still between 3 to 4. Just stir it lightly. Okay, now butter chicken is a little on the sweeter side, so I'm going to be adding salt and sugar. Okay, so I will add just about half a teaspoon of sugar, and then I will add salt. Now remember, we've been adding salt at every step, so you want to be careful of how much salt you're adding. So right now I'll just add about a little less than a teaspoon. You can adjust it later and just keep stirring it. We will wait for this to come to a slight boil before we add in the chicken pieces. Okay, so I'll see you back when this boils. Okay, so now that you can see that it's come to a nice boiling, we will add the chicken that's already been cooked. Okay, and that's it. That's butter chicken. We will just let it simmer for about 2 to 3 minutes before we dish it out. So I'll see you in 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so it's done. Here is our butter chicken. We dished it out. So just one last step. We will garnish it with heavy whipping cream. It can be any brand, just choose whichever you like. I'm just gonna add about 2 tablespoons. Now, because this is, I remember in the beginning I told you this is butter chicken, so it's really buttery and creamy, hence the whipped cream and the lot of butter. So I'm adding about 2 tablespoons just to garnish it. And there you go, we're all done. And this is the legendary, famous butter chicken.
Thank you so much for joining us and watching our video. I really hope that you guys would make it, and please let us know how it tastes, and please share your video with your friends as well. And I really do hope you make this recipe because it's pretty simple for an Indian dish. Thank you.
Thank you.